Okay, welcome to marketing topic MKTG 6002 or MKT 600. We are now working on the next marketing mix variable, okay, which is the placement. Okay, so you will recall that in the beginning of our discussion we say that marketing mix variables is basically a set of offering that we design to meet the customer's need. Therefore, we expect the marketing variables that we create would help us driving the exchange process with the customers. Okay, so we in the previous module we discussed the concept product or product decision. Now we are going to discuss placement decision. Okay, let's have a look at this topic. Placement actually involves two things, two key decisions basically. The first one is the channel decision or marketing channel decision. The second one is the distribution coverage decision. That's why they are the two that we need to discuss and you need to include in your assessment. Okay. Right, so this one here shows a little bit about the nature of marketing logistics, network management, and placement concept always involves logistical stuff of the business. A few key concepts in there that includes marketing logistics network, physical distribution, and also marketing logistics. And just briefly about the marketing logistics network, we have, as we recall that we work with the supplier, and we receive the raw materials, packaging materials, and so on and so forth in our manufacturing facility, and we make the products. We send the products to our warehouse, and we also manage to ship the product to our distributors, retailers, or agents, and sometimes we ship them directly to the end users. Along the way of the process, we have the system in place, such as EDI, Electronic Data Interchange, JIT system, and QRT EDI link system as well. Okay, that helps us to drive the network process. And this is just another logistic network for services industry, okay, and also experiential products such as events, okay, which is basically sharing the similar way. Okay, so the keyword in marketing logistics network is actually about efficiency and effectiveness. So the efficiency and effectiveness are basically quite critical for us in marketing logistics network, all right? Therefore, it is actually helping us to build the competitive advantage. Okay, the competitive advantage is basically about offering something that we have, offering the same benefit with cheaper price because we have the skill to manage lower costs, right? Including through logistical network that we develop, or offering more benefits to justify higher price. That's basically what I mean by competitive advantage. Okay, so all organizations actually need to look at their logistical network to help them building the competitive advantage in the market. Okay, all right. So in brief, what are they talking about? Well, in a nutshell, they aim at our logistical team. Our logistic team actually works on working on the 5 rights. Okay, first, to deliver the right product to the right customers at the right time, right quantity, and the right costs. Okay, with this, actually, our friends working in logistics help us building the competitive advantage. Okay, right. Now let's move on, and there are several decisions that the organization needs to make in terms of logistics. They involve the logistic function, actually the warehousing, such as where we have to build a warehouse. And normally the warehouses are quite close to the sources of materials. And do we need to develop warehouse at central warehouse level or at depot level, and so on and so forth, okay? Inventory management, which is basically about flowing the goods and services, if it is in service industry, from the manufacturing section, from the manufacturing facility right through the customers, at the same time managing the inventory of the raw material, packaging material. Transportation is another issue, because transportation also means cost to the business. To ship the products, we do need to transport our product, and at the most possible cost efficient way, because otherwise our cost will not be able to keep up with the profitability requirement of the organization. There are several ways to transport: the land transportation, sea transportation, or air freight, or combination of those things. And organizations need to work out in terms of getting shipping the product in the right cost. Okay, and logistics information management. The logistics, like any other business functions, also require information. And they are quite critical, actually, to make sure that the information is properly managed from logistic perspective. Otherwise, we may have write-off. We may have products that have to be written off when we look at the warehouse, for instance. And a lot of organizations actually use sophisticated tools like barcode scanner, for instance, or RFID to record the information and also to detect the products. Okay, right, now let's look at the marketing channel. This is what we mean by marketing channel. Okay, marketing channel is a set of interdependent organizations involved in the process of making product or service available to organizations, or to users or consumers. The interdependent organizations in here, actually, we use the term interdependent because they may not be from the same organization, but they do interdependent one to another, because they work in the context of providing or making the product or service available for our users or for our customers. So they are interdependent, all right? A set of interdependent organizations. Who are they? Well, they could be any other resellers, such as distributors or retailers, wholesalers, for instance. They may not belong to the same owner. So, what are the roles of the marketing channels, or the middleman, or the marketing intermediaries? Well, there are a number of things that they can help us, actually, in meeting the customer's needs, in delivering value for customers. The first one is information, which is basically about gathering and distributing marketing research and intelligence, so we can discuss with them about specific issues on the product or service that we want to provide for the customers. The second one is promotion, which is basically developing and spreading communications about an offer. So they help us building or they help us communicating our promotional plan or our promotional campaign. Contact, finding and communicating with prospective buyers, and matching, which is basically about shaping and fitting the offer to the buyer's needs. Matching in here is also quite critical, because manufacturers don't normally work in terms of selling unit by unit. They are not designed to do that. They are designed to ship the products in bulk for the customers. Therefore, it is the role of the retailers to ensure that they can do the unbulking, so that they can match to the specific buyer's need. Negotiation, they help us to set the price and the other trading terms for the final consumers, and the final consumers actually organize that with the resellers to agree on the terms and conditions, and yeah, and also acquire the product following that agreement. Physical distribution, definitely. Financing, of course, these activities require them to finance, to have some financial backup, and also risk taking, which is basically assuming the risks of carrying the channel work. Okay. All right. So the other things that I'd like to highlight in terms of marketing channels, how marketing channels add value, is about just imagine that the marketing channels, without the marketing channels, we need to contact our final consumers directly, and in some cases we may not be able to do it. Imagine if someone, let's say named Robert, needs a tomato, and Robert may need to go to the farmer directly, tomato farmer, and then Robert also needs to find another farmer to buy cucumber, for instance, and he also needs to go to another farmer to buy something else, and so on and so forth. You could imagine that as a customer, Robert needs to make those contacts, many contacts. And from the farmer's perspective, or in this instance, the manufacturer perspective, the manufacturer also needs to manage a lot of contacts. So with the resellers or marketing channels, we actually have helped the customers and also ourselves to reduce the number of contacts. Okay. Now, in saying that, I would also like to highlight that there are a new trend that shows that certain industries may reduce the number of marketing channels, or what they call as the marketing channels, right? The marketing channels, basically. So they may remove them in the equation. If you look at Qantas, for instance, or airline industry, they try to reach the customers directly. In this instance, they actually have lowered the power of the marketing channel in terms of reaching the customers. Okay, now this is one of the concepts that you need to consider in your marketing plan, the distribution coverage strategy. Distribution coverage strategy is actually about the decision that we need to make in terms of the number of coverage. Okay, how many wholesalers, how many retailers that we want to have, that we want to acquire in our distribution system. Okay, so that is the decision. That is the decision that we are making. Distribution coverage strategy. Okay, so in other words, distribution coverage strategy is about the number of resellers that we want to adopt. Okay, there are three strategies. In this instance, we have the intensive distribution, selective distribution, and exclusive distribution. Okay, and if we look at this, we actually adopt as many as possible in terms of distribution when it comes to intensive. So this is our intensive, for instance, and in the context of intensive, we try to make our products available to as many wholesalers as possible, and in terms on the other end, we have what we call as the exclusive distribution strategy, okay, where we only assign one marketing channel, and we give this marketing channel the rights to distribute our product in certain area territory. And in between, we have what we call as the selective distribution coverage strategy. With selective, we actually adopt a few resellers to distribute our products in a geographic area. Okay, right. So hopefully that gives an idea. Now, The other thing I'd like to highlight is that there is a tendency that fast-moving consumer goods products, or FMCG, or convenience products, if we go back to the previous topic, the product classification topic, has a tendency of adopting intensive distribution strategy. In fact, some of them may require their products to be distributed to as many wholesalers and retailers as they can, and that may also include non-conventional outlets beyond Woolies and Coles in Australia. That may include the kiosk, like a vending machine, for instance, which is a different type of store. Okay, so that's intensive distribution if that product is in that category. The next one is exclusive, which is normally adopted by a luxury item, or sometimes we may have products, we may have a business model that we have no experience, so we sign an exclusive distribution. That's another option as well. That's another possibility as well. So luxury item would normally adopt it. The specialty product, right? The specialty product may adopt this kind of strategy. Okay, and in between we have what we call a selective. And selective is basically is not adopted by shopping products. Okay, if you can imagine mobile device, for instance, the fashion apparel, as another example. Okay, they do not need to make their products distributed intensively, so they adopt the selective distribution strategy. Okay. All right, so that's distribution coverage strategy. Okay, and the next one is about channel strategy. Channel strategy is actually the decision on how many layers, how many marketing intermediaries, how many marketing intermediaries level that we want to adopt. Okay, so there are, broadly speaking, there are two strategies. The first one is direct marketing channel, where we adopt no marketing intermediary level. If you look at the this diagram, so this one here is basically showing us that the manufacturer, the producer, contacts the consumers directly. So this is kind of direct marketing channel strategy. Okay, the second and third, which is also shown by the business marketing channel, actually adopts the at least one layer. So that's what we call as indirect marketing channel. Okay, and some organizations may also adopt both of them, both direct and indirect. You can think about any products that can be purchased directly to the manufacturers, and the other products may require us to purchase them through the retailers, such as JB Hi-Fi, for instance, in the case of consumer electronics. Okay, and so these organizations normally adopt what we call as the hybrid channel. Okay. All right, so there are two decisions that we need to consider in our placement decision, and the other thing that I'd like to highlight is basically the marketing intermediaries, which is basically the businesses that help the company to promote, sell, and distribute its products to final buyers, or in other words, they are the middleman, okay, in terms of marketing intermediaries. Okay. Right, so that's basically the main ones, and I'm going to skip this. And in terms of retailer marketing decisions, they also work in a similar way. They decide the target market and positioning strategy as the core retail strategy, and after that they decide the marketing mix variables, the marketing mix decision, and normally they start with the placement before they discuss about the product, prices, and promotions. Wholesaling, which is basically having the same roles in terms of value delivery system to the customers. They sell, promote, buying and assortment building, bulk breaking, and so on and so forth. Okay, right. So that's basically the main points of marketing placement decision. So as a highlight, please make sure that you are comfortable with distribution coverage strategy and marketing channel decision. Okay, so they are the two main concepts that you want to include in your assessment. Okay, next week we are going to discuss price decision, and I'll see you next week.